Williams, 16 points, throws it away. Halliburton comes up with it. Cross court, Siakam for the slam. Oklahoma City, the storybook season is complete.
Sheldon all over Clark, and they get into it a bit here. Lexi Hall now gets in Sheldon's face. Caitlin Clark hits the deck.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Restricted Area Podcast, where this week we talk another NBA champion getting crowned, NBA more blockbuster trades, and another week in WNBA action. Before we get started, I just want to remind you all can listen to the audio version of this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Music. But to get you started, I'm your host, Alex Perez, joined by the very happy co-host, Logan Hatfield.
What's going on, everybody?
And
I hope everybody else woke up as happy as I did today.
And for the first time, making his restricted area debut, the other co-host, Paris Cremines. How we doing, fellas?
I'm good. I'm not as good as Logan, though. I'm doing all right.
I am feeling finer than a frog hair split four ways, fellas. I cannot lie. It is a great day to be alive.
Well, we will go ahead and get started so we can get you talking about the most exciting thing that happened to you yesterday. So the Oklahoma City Thunder finished the 7-game series and won their first championship in franchise history as they won the 7-game series over the Pacers. Logan, just go ahead. Tell us what you saw from your team.
I saw the best team all year be the best team last night. That's pretty fair and simple. I just watched one of the greatest single season by a team as well as by a player in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Sweeps all the MVPs besides the NBA Cup MVP. He didn't pick up that one, but he'll have to grab that one next year if he really wants to have a perfect season. But winning a scoring title, Finals MVP, regular season MVP, getting that first ring, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And Game 7 specifically started off kind of rough. Obviously, prayers up to Tyrese Halliburton. That's never something you want to see, especially in a game of that magnitude and a player of that magnitude. It hurts bad. That's not the way I wanted it to end for him. It's going to be weird going into next season. Him, Dame, and Tatum all more than likely done for the year. It's going to be pretty weird. But that aside, obviously praying for a speedy recovery for him. However, that second half, OKC really just turned it up. And you can tell, kind of like in Game 6 in Indy, the crowd really played into this one. And I think the moment I knew it was going to be all right was when Lute Dort chucked up a logo 3 at the end of the shot clock and it went in. After that, I kind of felt invincible. And there was nothing that could stop me. I felt like I was out there with the team. Part of the game I had to watch on the road, but I did get back to the crib and was able to watch the end. And I didn't turn off the TV until long past midnight. I just couldn't take my eyes off it. This is the kind of stuff I've been waiting about 15 years for. So, it was everything I hoped for and more. And can't wait to do it again this time next year.
Oh, brother.
Paris,
Yes.
what'd you see?
Well, you talk a lot about OKC, so I'll kind of go the other way. Obviously, Hallie, Achilles, that's brutal. We talked about it before the broadcast. The image of a grown man on the ground just smacking the court, screaming no and crying. That sucks. I wanted to turn the TV off right after that. That makes you sad. He's going to miss all of them next year, and, we'll see. And it's always, that's an injury that you kind of wonder about the production when they come back. He's a young player, so whatever. But, definitely that sucks. But you know what, Logan? Don't let anyone take this away from you. Don't let anyone say it's a hospital ring, because it's not. The Pacers, like, in the third quarter, nobody besides one white guy scored a basket for 10 minutes. I mean, you're not going to win game 7 playing like that. So, Logan, don't let anyone take this from you. They earned it.
Thank you. I wasn't planning on it, but I definitely won't now that I have the reassurance of Paris there.
I was thinking about trying to take it from you, but No.
I agree with you. I've already seen so much about how this ring is invalid, which by that logic, I mean, I'm not going to get into all that. Actually, that doesn't seem like an argument that's worth my time or energy, because at the end of the day, I didn't, but I woke up a fan of a champ. So that's something that's you can't take away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I kind of broke it down game by game. Game 5 was a slow start for Indiana. 7 first quarter turnovers. It kind of looked like they were just issued their hands. They were playing so bad. So that was tough to watch. OKC had more assists through the first half than all of game 4. So they were definitely playing a little better in game 5. Hallie had 0, and Thunder were 8 for 17 from 3 by halftime. Pacers, that's quite a hole to dig yourself out of. Third was TJ McConnell quarter. Where have we heard that before? 12 points. And then the fourth was Siakam with 12, but the Thunder were able to still hold them off because an incredible 40-point game from J-Dub. And then 31 and 10 from SGA. I guess is pretty good right beside that. And then game 6, Indiana struggled with no field goals in the first 4 minutes. And then they had 20 points in the next 4 minutes. So quite a turn of events in that first quarter. Indiana with the best quarter in franchise history as they won the next quarter 36-17, and Siakam put a bow on the game really by half with one of the nastiest dunks we've ever seen and a turnaround buzzer beater to put the team up 20 plus going into halftime. SGA and J-Dub have 31 of the 42 first half points for OKC. You're going to need a little more production from other people in that one, as Indiana saw in game 7. Started out as one of the most fun games. Hallie was cooking. OKC was playing great on all fronts. And then Halliburton went down. Credit to Indiana for continuing to fight and even having a halftime lead, in part because OKC shot horrible from 3 in the second quarter. They were shooting 40% in the first quarter and then went 4 of 18 by halftime. But anyways, then Indiana just lost steam in that third. TJ McConnell playing hero ball, as Paris mentioned. No other Pacers scored from the 8.5-minute mark in the third quarter on until the fourth quarter. You're not going to win any game like that. And then the game was tied at 56 at that point, by the way. And then OKC just took advantage of points off turnovers. It was 27-5 in OKC's favor by the end of that third quarter. And then Indiana, again, had no help. Hallie with the most threes in the game. He played 7 minutes. He also scored more than Obi Toppin, Miles Turner, and Neesmith combined. Again, he played 7 minutes. So there wasn't much help or effort from Indiana once that third quarter started taking place. And it was kind of hard to watch, honestly. But congratulations to OKC. They did dominate. I did want to run through some of those numbers as well, if you all will humor me.
You're humored.
Plus 259 is the best playoff home differential of all time. Plus 131 is the best turnover differential in a single playoff. 19-2 is the best record following a loss in a season. And plus 1247, best point differential in a single season. So OKC has been the best team from start to finish. It looked like they may have gave it up in game 7, but they didn't. They played how they have all season, and congrats to them.
Mm-hmm.
Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Siakam's dunk in game 6. I did want to point out that was the game where right before they had a huddle and his eyes rolled back to the back of his head as he praised the Dark Lord. So I don't want to say that those things are correlated, but you tell me. There might be a connection there.
Might be
I'll
something.
tell you one thing, Paris, is that dark magic doesn't work on Sundays.
Amen, brother.
That's true.
That's all I got. That's all I got.
That is true. And you know what, Logan? I did want to point out that I did have in my notes that I wanted to bring up SGA's his game 7, because I think a lot of people are going to probably focus on the 12 free throw attempts. Maybe people might focus on that, but I did want to point out that he had 12 assists. Is that right? 12 assists, and that 12 assists is just a number in a box score. But I mean, there were some truly unbelievable assists, and he really played better than that box score would lead you to believe. So again, Logan, don't let anyone tell you that the 12 free throw attempts are what you should be focusing on, or that Halliburton got injured. Nobody's telling you that. Don't worry about it, dude.
Yeah, well, to quote a legend in the podcast game, shout out the boys from the Mind the Game pod. I want my superstar shot chucking in Game 7. I don't care. It literally does not matter to me because you know what? There is no other game to play, and the passive gimmick just doesn't work in a closeout game. So you saw that. I mean, he put up a bunch of shots, but at the end of the day, you can say what you want, but he's got one now, and a Finals MVP,
and a regular season MVP.
And I can name a few players that don't have any of those, but I feel like that's a pretty long list, and we might be here all night. Shout out to
God. Oh, jeez.
Anyways, so I guess we'll move on to more exciting news in the NBA. If last week wasn't exciting enough, we got another NBA blockbuster trade. The Phoenix Suns are sending Kevin Durant to Houston for the number 10 pick in this year's draft, 5 second-round picks, Dylan Brooks and Jalen Green. So, Paris, what are your thoughts on the trade?
My initial reaction when I saw it, and don't get me wrong here, I do feel like KD's still balling, but he's 36, and he has 1 year left on his contract. I mean, initially, it just feels like a lot to give up for a 36-year-old KD with 1 year left on his contract. I mean, that said, the Rockets are in a really good spot to be able to give up those things. And I'd love to get your thoughts on this, Logan, but I felt like I saw a lot of comparisons on Twitter to the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander trade, giving away a really young player that might be something in the league someday that you maybe look back in a couple of years and scratch your head at. So, but initially I felt like it was a lot.
Hold on. Are we comparing Jalen Green to Shai Gilgeous?
No. I'm not comparing. I'm saying that the trades have maybe a similar. I saw some comparisons that maybe they have a similar vibe.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you one thing. I don't think Jalen Green's going to suit up for Phoenix. I think they're going to move him again. It's like that meme of the guy posts on his Instagram story. It says, "Who want me?" and it's like 100% no. Sorry, in my humble opinion, Jalen Green is not that good. Like he puts up some of the most empty stats I've ever seen for a contender. Like every time he was out there for the Rockets in the playoffs, he could go out there and score 20, but he didn't have any impact on the game at all. It really makes no sense to me. He was super hyped up, and it's just proof that the G League Ignite was such a failure. Oh my goodness! I think that was one of the worst ideas the NBA ever had. That's a story for another time. Jalen Green, I feel like can develop because he's got all the intent. He's athletic. He's fast. He's got a good handle. He can jump out of the gym. If he develops that shot, I feel like he can be good, but I don't know, man. Phoenix would have to get a good return for me to say that this is worth it for them because, like, Phoenix, you don't build around Jalen Green. And you already got 3 shooting guards on the roster now, so one of them's got to go.
Yeah,
That's
I
true.
completely agree. My thoughts exactly, honestly, like Bradley Beal, Jalen Green, and Devin Booker are not going to be able to coexist on the same team. Jalen Green is almost certainly getting shipped somewhere else. Where that will be, that will be interesting to find out. But uh, I do like this move for the Rockets. I do think they obviously get better. Do I think this makes them a championship contender? Not really, if I'm being honest. I don't think it moves the needle much more than they had last season, if I'm being completely honest. But I do think they have the potential to move the needle because they still have 5 to 7 first round picks to move even after that trade. So I don't know. Maybe they go and call Giannis and see what it's going to take to get him. But my one concern with this team not being great is they still start Jabari Smith. So I don't know if I believe in a team that starts him. I'm sure they're going to move him. That's the plan, I would assume. But a starting lineup with him as the four, I don't know if I believe in it. But as I said, Phoenix, what moves do they make now? He makes no sense with the other two shooters. So I think that's the biggest takeaway for me is that'll be something to keep an eye on as free agency starts here really soon. I think June 30th. So that'll be exciting to keep an eye on. Any final thoughts?
Free Devin Booker.
Real.
Let him
Yeah.
out. Let him out of Phoenix. So that's one of my favorite players of all time. And also, I do want to let it be known, even as a former Salty Thunder fan, Kevin Durant still is my favorite player of all time. And it's going to be super weird seeing him suit up in a Rockets jersey. If I'm going to be so completely honest, that just doesn't even seem right.
True.
But
Mhm.
it wouldn't be Kevin Durant if he didn't do this on the day of Game 7 of the Finals. It's kind of like it was his artistic work.
Yeah.
Everything at the end of the day is the WWE if you really look at it. So he knew what he was doing. The Suns and the Rockets, they knew what they were doing. It's all theatrics at the end of the day. But I don't know. Do I get the red Rockets 35 Durant jersey, or do I hold off on that one because he's going to be back in OKC blue a year after this next one?
Oh my
I'm just so
God.
interested that the Rockets have tried every piece of the OKC Big Three, and we'll see how this one turns out. I don't know if it's going to be any different, but good luck to them, I guess.
Yeah, I
But
can tell you how it's going to go.
I think we know. Yeah, I think we have an idea as educated basketball fans. But if nothing else, we'll move on to Foul or Flop, where we bring our favorite quote of the week to you and review whether it's a foul and they have a point, or flop and they're selling baloney. I guess I will go first. And mine is from Angel McCautry, who spoke on Haley Van Lith. She said, if Haley Van Lith had only 10,000 followers, would she be in the league? Come on. That's a flop. Uh, why can't the old heads just be happy for the new people coming into the league? I don't understand it. Everybody hates whether it's Angel Reese, whether it's Haley Van Lith, Caitlin Clark. It just seems like no player can make the old heads happy. It's very frustrating to watch, even especially a player that brought 3 separate teams in college to the Sweet 16 or better. I feel like that kind of resume makes you deserve a spot in the WNBA. So it's a flop for me. Would you all agree?
Yeah. I mean, who hates Cameron Brink? I mean, she's not hated, right? Like she's got some love a little bit.
Maybe, yeah.
All right, so she's the one. She's the one. But yeah, I'd say
No,
flop.
She hasn't really got a chance to
yeah,
play yet, though. So I guess give it time, honestly.
That's true.
no, I'm definitely with you there, Alex. I think that's a flop too. That's one of the things I keep seeing about the WNBA is man, the veterans just cannot stand the fact that there is new coming into the game. It's crazy to me. It's crazy to me for a league that is, in my opinion, on the up and developing into a competitive market in the professional sports world that they cannot embrace their young stars. It blows my mind just by growth purposes and just basketball in general. Like this next wave of women is ridiculous, and the old heads just do not want to accept it for some reason.
It's
I'm
so
with you.
crazy
That's a
to me because
flop.
it's like the other older players are like, they're gonna forget us. Like NBA fans don't talk about the 90s religiously. But anyways, Paris, would you agree?
I would agree. Yeah, I would definitely agree. Big flop.
All right, Paris, you want to go next?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. Logan, you probably saw this one. But Pacers coach Rick Carlisle. I just saw a video that's probably going to go viral of some buses, open top buses, presumably for the parade, already painted with them as champions. And that's all I'm thinking about right now. I say it's a big old flop because they lost. Like the OKC are champions. So it's like I love quotes like this where they kind of call their shot and they kind of wanted to talk about bulletin board material a little bit before the game, and then they lose. So yeah, I would say this is a pretty big flop because it would have been a really cool quote had they won. And as he's hoisting the trophy, he said something like that. But before the game, and then you lose, and your star player's Achilles breaks in half. I mean, that's a bad look. That's pretty tough.
Yeah, no, I think it's a flop for multiple reasons. One, as you obviously said, they lost. Two, breaking news: NBA and teams make merchandise because game isn't over until it ends, and there's two possible outcomes. Those buses, I guarantee you, there's two buses back in Indianapolis right now that were painted for a championship parade. But guess what? They had to because the game has one outcome and there's two teams. Oh my gosh. That's obviously a flop. Rick Carlisle tried so hard to make an iconic moment there too. And this was after I gave Rick Carlisle credit last week, man. He was playing the game. He was making Scott Foster happy. And then he just comes and does this. Like he was like I said, he was trying so hard to make an iconic moment. And like you said, some bulletin board material, man. He gets a flop from me. What a joke.
Yeah, it would also be a flop for me for the same reason. That's all I was thinking is Rick Carlisle is going to be so mad when he figures out they're not making the shirts and hats during the game. They're already done. So yeah, it's a big flop for me. Logan, you want to go next?
Yeah, absolutely. So in light of the fellas getting that ring, I was looking the whole time for somebody to drop a bar just because that's typically how it goes in these moments. And the one I found was from Chet Holmgren when he was talking about his journey, battling back from injuries and whatnot. He spoke a lot, and the part that I took out the most from it was, bruises and broken bones, they are temporary, but this is forever. A little tear formed in my eye when he said that because for a guy, for the story that he's had in the league so far with his injuries and how much he's come back, he worked hard. I mean, he struggled early on in the finals, and he was hearing it from fans on both sides. But the one thing they can't take away from him, obviously, is now this ring and the fact that he currently has the most blocks ever in an NBA Finals Game 7. So it gets a huge foul from me, very, very much valid, and probably the hardest quote that got dropped during the post-game ceremony.
Yeah, I'd say it's a foul for me too. Can't argue with that. He battled through injury, especially for somebody of his size, and we've seen so many people go out early in the league with his stature. So it's good to see that he is still being able to be productive and finish out this championship. So that's awesome. I'm just waiting on that SGA Instagram caption to drop if it hasn't already. But Paris, how you feeling about this quote?
Yeah, I'm going to give it a foul just because it's legit. I mean, did have a rough start to his young career with injuries and whatnot. But Logan, was he eating oxtail when he said that? Was he sitting in the locker room eating his oxtail and talking about his struggles? How he made it out the mud?
Yeah, no, yeah. 54 from Trey Ball's OD shooting hang pools. Yeah, no, I'm sure he made himself a wonderful dinner when he got home. Don't worry about that.
Good. But I'll give it a foul. I'll say it's a foul. That's real. That's earned.
Fair enough. Well, that will do it for this edition of Foul or Flop. We'll move on to the WNBA and see what's happening this past week. Let's first take a look at the standings. Minnesota's in first. The Liberty are in second. Phoenix is in third. Atlanta in fourth. Seattle in fifth. Golden State in sixth. Las Vegas in seventh. Indiana in eighth. Washington ninth. LA 10th. Chicago in 11th. Dallas in 12th. And Connecticut in 13th. With that said, what storylines stuck out the most from this week? Logan, we'll go with you first.
Well, my first thing is, as we've talked about, like, I feel like every episode, the Atlanta Dream are still creeping. They're always there. And also, shout out to the Mercury, 11-4 on a 5-game win streak. Don't count out Phoenix just yet. And the main thing that I want to talk about individual player-wise is Nneka Ogwumike is currently on fire, playing some of her best ball of the season. I'm going to run through some stats here real quick. In the last 3 games, she's had 26 points and 5 boards on 75% shooting, 25 points and 12 boards on 69% shooting, and 26 points and 7 boards on 71% shooting. So she's putting up some numbers right now, and it's probably the best stretch of ball she's played all season. And she's got the Storm playing pretty well right now. So I don't know. That's my main one. And yeah, I'll wait till we get into some Commissioner's Cup to talk the other point I have.
Yeah, that's a pretty scary Seattle team, honestly. I think they could make some noise in the playoffs. But mine was the Liberty, losers of 3 of the last 4. Phoebish still overseas with her Euro ball, and no telling when she's going to be back. And then now Jonquel Jones is out 4 to 6 weeks with her injury. And Sabrina is now missing games too with some injuries. So it's not looking great for the Liberty right now. And they already let Kayla Thornton and Courtney Vandersloot go from last season's team. So the depth is looking really questionable right now. And I would hate to see them fall and then end up having to play a team, I don't know, like that Atlanta team in the playoffs. That might be something real scary for them come playoff time. And then Golden State, on the other end of the spectrum, they're 6th in the league. They're 1 game above 500 in their first year in the league, and they're tied for the most wins for an expansion team in their first 13 games. So shout out them. I don't think any WNBA fans really predicted this hot of a start from them. So good for them. Paris, did you have anything else you want to talk about?
I would be lying if I said that I watched a ton of WNBA, so I apologize that I'm not super educated on it. But I did kind of want to dive a little more into that Haley Van Lith comment that was made, because she did the former WNBA player Angel McCoughtry, I believe, did apologize for it. I don't know if we talked about that, but apologize maybe sort of a little bit. She said, my mistake I made was giving a point with the wrong delivery. I shouldn't have used a certain player to make an example of a point I was trying to make. I want to apologize for that. She said, Haley, you worked hard for everything you got, plus more, and that's 2 old players. Kind of backhanded still a little bit. Like you kind of can't be like, well, if you didn't have Instagram followers, you wouldn't be in the league, and then say, but I wasn't talking about you specifically. It was just like a broad statement. That's kind of a rough
wrong.
one.
Yeah. They were in their feelings about it.
Yeah, but I did want to point that out, that she did. I had that in my notes that she did make a statement about it. I'm trying to right her wrongs a little bit.
Yeah, we're not seeing production from Haley Van Lith because Chicago doesn't know how to run their team. That's the reason we're not seeing anything from Haley Van Lith right now. But that's a story I could talk about for a whole podcast. So I digress. Logan, anything else?
Yeah, no, I mean, I was also going to bring this quote up. I feel like it was like the talk of the W this past week, because I feel like every week something's coming up now, like drama-wise, because, somebody wants to say something. And once again, it's an old head talking about a younger player. It's a fairly disturbing trend coming out of the league. But, yeah, Alex, like you said, if Haley Van Lith played for a competent organization, she might be putting up some numbers. So yeah, I'm with you on that one. They need to ease up on her. She's also a rookie. Like, can we keep that in mind?
And then Courtney Vandersloot went out and she had to get playing time and then put up career highs in points, rebound, and assists. Funny how that works out.
Noticing. I'm noticing. And it's not her fault she has so many Instagram followers. Like, what do you want her to do? Be like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm viral. Like, that's not like, come on, what are we doing?
Yeah, that's silly. But another storyline this week is the Commissioner Cup final is set now. It's going to be on July 1st. We're looking forward to that day. It'll be the Indiana Fever and the Minnesota Lynx. So, Logan, what's the key to getting a win for either of these teams?
The key is the X factors and the leaders for both teams. Collier and Clark, it's going to be a dogfight out there. I feel like the Fever, they were turning up in Commissioner's Cup games. I got to give them their credit. They showed up and they showed out, going 4-1. The Lynx going 5-1. I feel like this is going to be a statement game for whoever wins. If the Fever can get this, I know it's not the playoffs, but I feel like this is a huge step in transitioning towards that playoff team that we all know that they can be. Now that they're starting to come back into form, Caitlin Clark's back out there playing great as she always does. It's going to be a fun one. I think this was one of the better matchups we could have gotten, and I'm not going to necessarily say it's a finals preview, just because we don't really know what the Fever are going to look like come playoff time, but. It's going to be a fun one regardless, and I'm pretty excited to see what comes of it. There's a lot of star power in this one, and I'll be tuning in for sure.
Yeah, there's a few things I'm looking at specifically, like the front court. I think it's going to be a very interesting dynamic of it. The Indiana Fever lead the league in points in the paint, so Aaliyah Boston and Natasha Howard really thrive on scoring in the paint, whereas Minnesota Lynx, they like to run the stretch bigs. Bridget Carlton and Alana Smith, they're both top three. They're both in the top third of three-point percentage in the league. So it'll be interesting to see which of those really win out. And then, as you mentioned, the star power, I think it's about who's the healthiest because they've both been dealing with injury concerns this season, and then who creates the biggest mismatch. And honestly, if you made me pick one of the two right now based on the teams, I'm going with Nafisa Collier because I don't think the Fever really have a great small forward option for her to defend her. Maybe Natasha Howard, but I still don't think that's really a defensive matchup Natasha Howard wants to deal with. So I think Nafisa wins that battle there. And then play style is something I'm looking at too. Both these teams obviously shoot very efficiently and they like to play fast, but they both dominate in different ways. Minnesota thrives on the fast break, whereas Indiana really cleans up the glass and gets second chance points. They're one of the leaders in the league in that. So really just seeing who wins out again in that dynamic of the game will be key to who gets that 500,000. That's a big bag for one team. Paris, you got anything?
$500,000 that's $500,000 for the entire team, like
For the
divided
entire
up
team, yeah.
per
I think they
player.
split it. Yeah, but there's only 10 players because the great WNBA roster mandated minimums and stuff. So they still get a pretty good chunk of change.
Dude, that's crazy. How do I sign up to be in the Commissioner's Cup? That's unbelievable. I'd like to be in that. And I also just looked up, is it true they receive at least $5,000 in cryptocurrency from Coinbase?
Oh, yeah, they also receive cryptocurrency. That is true. I forgot about that part.
Worthless. Just worthless.
Yeah, I was about to say, everybody knows how to use that.
That's
a
great.
Great piece of currency. We all love it.
That's good. That's the only thing I wanted to add. I was going to bring up that $500,000 prize pool. Do coaches get anything? Staff?
I don't think they do because they don't in the NBA, so I don't think it would be much different in the WNBA.
That's a joke, dude. Give the coaches.
It really is, yeah.
That's it. That's all I had.
But we will then move on to see who knows ball as we pick our WNBA winners of the week. The first game I got is Wednesday at 10 p.m. on the WNBA League Pass. It's the New York Liberty at the Golden State Valkyries, the two teams we just mentioned. Logan, who you got?
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. Give me the Valkyries. I'm going to be a hype beast here and take Golden State. I kind of like what they got going on. They're fun. It's fun when you see a new team like this playing as well as they are. and I'm gonna ride the wave until it falls off.
Yeah, the myriad of injuries really concern me with New York right now, especially not knowing if Sabrina's going to be healthy for the game. So give me the team that hasn't really dealt with that many injury concerns, and that's Golden State. So I'll take them in this game as well. Paris?
Give me New York. 5. Just one 5.
Just saving the graphic. We appreciate that.
Yeah, that's right. I got to balance it out.
Then the second game we got is Friday at 7:30 on Ion, Indiana at Dallas. I believe the first professional battle between Paige Beckers and Caitlin Clark. So it'll definitely be an interesting storyline there. Logan, who you got?
Give me the Wings.
That's it?
Probably not the most popular pick, but I got to ride with my girl Paige Beckers, my favorite player in the league. I'm never going to bet against her.
Yeah, I'm going the opposite way, but I feel like my fandom is a little biased in that, obviously. But I think the Indiana front court gives them an advantage over Dallas because Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell will kind of balance out with Enrique Gumbawale and Paige. So I feel like kind of like order of operations there. They're going to cancel each other out. So we got to find an advantage somewhere else. And I feel like that's the front court. And Indiana has that. As I talked about, they lead the league in points in the paint. So I think that's where the bread and butter will come from in this game. Paris?
Yeah, I'm going with the Fever as well. Just standings. I mean, the Wings are 3-12, so Logan, that makes no sense why you would pick them. But I'll go with the Fever.
Enrique is also mightily struggling.
I am picking with my heart over my head here. Paige Beckers almost had a triple-double against the Mystics. Like, we're not talking about this enough. For a rookie just, coming back from injury, my GOAT is going off, and I'm loving to see it. And it's going to happen again. Caitlin Clark's getting her chain snatched.
And Dallas also traded for Lee Giroux. Like, she's a game changer, so we can't discount that, honestly. But now it's time to move to our Shooting Star segment where we pick our baller of the week. For me, this week it's Paige Beckers. She's been on a tear since returning from that concussion. Just hit a game-tying shot to send it to OT versus Washington. As we talked about, the rest of the team's not that good, so they didn't end up winning in that game, but neither here nor there. And she is now the fastest player in WNBA history to 200 points, 50 rebounds, and 50 assists. So we have to give her some credit. We talk about all the accomplishments and records that Caitlin Clark's breaking, but this one obviously didn't get enough love. I didn't see enough people talking about it, so we got to give Paige Beckers her flowers for sure. Logan?
Yeah, no, I appreciate someone picking Paigey buckets this week because there was no other person I could go against for my Shooting Star of the week. I feel like that picture tells an entire story in and of itself. Just capped off, I'm not even saying this as a Thunder fan. That was arguably a top 10 overall season in NBA history. Putting up MVP, scoring title, Western Conference Finals MVP, and capping it all off with a ring. I feel like that's going to be a tough season to top for a while, and that's what legacies are made of right there. And I can't wait to see what he does next.
Paris, you got somebody?
So I'm new to the show, obviously. So explain what exactly we're breaking down. What am I doing here? What am I guessing?
Just picking your favorite performer of the week in basketball, if you have one.
Oh, okay. So just this past week. Well, I'll go with J-Dub. OKC. 40-point game in the finals. And that's pretty huge. And I thought that game 5 was, I put it in my notes, one of the bigger games of the series because it kind of stole the momentum back from the Pacers. And obviously he was a big part of that game. So I'll go J-Dub.
Yeah, I feel like J-Dub solidified himself as one of the best number 2 options in the league, if not the best. So very impressive work from him. He definitely made a believer out of me. I mean, I was a little bit of a believer beforehand, but wow, did he have a great finals. And on that note, I think that will do it for this episode of the Restricted Area Podcast. Thanks, Paris and Logan, for being on the show. Subscribe to the CX Podcast Network for more great sports shows like this. We got MLB, we got NASCAR, and a ton of other things coming your way. Look out for the Norse Benchwarmers page as well. We have an exclusive interview coming on that page as well. And then follow me on Twitter at The Wheel Deal. And Logan, tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me on all platforms at LoganH_4. I'm looking to be more active on Twitter, but I'm always on Instagram, so I post some fun stuff on there.
All right, Paris, let the people know where they can find you.
Oh God. My Twitter handle is at Grits and Gravy Baby. So you can find me there. I'm not terribly active, but I'd like to be, I guess. I don't know. Follow me on there.
It's a great Twitter follow, everyone. So definitely do that. Put it in the comments what you think of Paris' Twitter game. Let us know.
Grits and gravy, baby.
Grits and gravy, baby.
Let's go. That's fire. I was unaware of your game, Paris.
Yeah, it's such a great follow.
You don't follow me on Twitter, Logan?
No, I don't think I do.
Come on, man. All right, well, you got homework. I don't know.
Gotta go check it out. Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
I will.
Thank you all for listening and/or watching. And then until next week, be smooth.